My cousin told my husband she was better for him and sent private photos of her to prove it. My husband ignored her, but her fiancé didn't. He forwarded them to every guest at their engagement party. I, 29F, have a cousin, Vanessa, 29F, and we've had a weird rivalry since we were kids. She always has to one-up me. If I got an A on a test, she'd brag about getting an A+. When I bought my first car, she somehow convinced her parents to get her a newer one the next week. It's always been like this. I mostly laugh it off, but it can be exhausting. I got married last year to my husband, Ryan, 30mm. Vanessa was one of my bridesmaids. She didn't do anything overtly rude at the wedding, but I did catch her trying to cozy up to Ryan a couple of times at the reception. I shrugged it off as her being overly friendly. She was a little tipsy, and let it go. Ryan found it odd, but harmless. Fast forward to this year, Vanessa got engaged to her fiancé, Cole, 30mm. I was genuinely happy for her. I hoped maybe she'd finally stop that weird competition with me now that she was getting married too. Well, I was wrong. A few weeks ago, completely out of the blue, Ryan received a series of messages from Vanessa. They started out somewhat innocently, just overly friendly, flirty texts. He showed me immediately because it was weird and we don't keep secrets. We decided together that if it was just a one-time drunken mistake, we'd ignore it. But then she sent more the next day, bubbling down. This time she told him that marrying me was a mistake and that she would be better for him. She actually wrote that everyone knew he'd be happier with her instead of me. We were floored. It got worse. She attached 2 very explicit photos of herself in lingerie and less. Basically, Vanessa was offering herself to my husband, saying, "Here's what you could have instead." I felt sick reading that. Ryan was furious and immediately said, "That's it. I'm telling Cole." We screenshotted everything. Her texts, the photos, all of it. Ryan never responded to her at all. He just blocked her on his phone. We talked it over and agreed that Cole needed to know about this before he married her. How could we not warn him? He's about to marry someone who's sending nudes to another man. My husband, no less. So, Ryan reached out to Cole. He had met Cole a few times at gatherings, and we had Cole's number from a family contact list. Ryan sent Cole a polite but direct message, basically saying, "I'm really sorry to have to do this, but you need to see what Vanessa has been sending me." Then he forwarded all the screenshots to Cole. Cole didn't respond for a couple of days. I was anxious, thinking, have we just completely upended her life? But also, she brought this on herself. I hated the idea of blowing up my family, but hiding what she did felt wrong. After 3 days of radio silence, Cole suddenly sent Ryan a message thanking him and invited both of us to their upcoming engagement party. That was surprising. We weren't especially close with Vanessa and Cole beyond normal family events, and we hadn't been invited originally. We guessed that maybe Cole wanted us there as witnesses or support for whatever was about to happen. We decided to go, not sure what to expect. The engagement party was at a nice restaurant's private event room, about 40-50 guests, mostly family and some friends. Vanessa looked uneasy when she saw us arrive. I gave her a small smile and a congrats to keep up appearances. She just pursed her lips and turned away. Cole was polite to us, but I noticed he was pretty cold toward Vanessa all night. About an hour into the event, after the dinner, Cole stood up to give a toast. He thanked everyone for coming, then he said he had a special presentation. I got a bad feeling immediately. Cole pulls out a small projector and says something like, "I wasn't sure whether to show this, but everyone here deserves to know who they're really here to celebrate tonight." He starts a slideshow on the screen at the front of the room. The first images that popped up were the screenshots Ryan had sent him. Yes, including the explicit photos of Vanessa and the text messages she sent to my husband. The room went dead silent, except for an audible gasp or two. On the big screen, there was Vanessa in her lacy underwear, posing suggestively, and right next to it, her text, "I'm better for you than she is. This is what you could have." Someone in the crowd said, "Oh my God," and an older relative shouted, "What the hell is this?" Cole calmly explained to the room, "This is what my fiancé has been up to." Vanessa started screaming at Cole to turn it off. She ran up and tried to yank the power cord out of the projector, and then she just burst into tears in front of everyone. She was yelling, "It's not what it looks like," and sobbing. Cole kept his composure and announced, "We're done, Vanessa. The wedding's off." Then he walked out of the restaurant, leaving her collapsed on the floor in front of everyone. It was a lot. Chaos broke out. Vanessa's mom, my aunt, immediately ran over and tried to cover Vanessa with a jacket because one of her straps was falling off in the photo still on screen. Vanessa's dad started shouting at some guests who were whispering, telling them to mind their own damn business. Everyone was either stunned or pretending not to see the obvious. Meanwhile, Ryan and I quietly slipped out during the confusion. We found Cole outside in the parking lot. I didn't know what to say other than, "Are you okay?" He looked angry and devastated, but he thanked us for telling him the truth. He said something like, "Better I found out now than after the wedding." We didn't talk much more because Vanessa's family started spilling out of the venue, and I did not want a confrontation in the parking lot. We just told Cole to take care and left. Since then, my phone has been blowing up with messages from relatives. Half of them are furious at us for stirring up drama and ruining the engagement. Some are specifically blaming me and Ryan for ever showing Cole those screenshots. I haven't responded to any of them yet. Honestly, I'm still in shock that the party turned into that public humiliation scene. That was never our intention. Ryan keeps saying that Vanessa brought it on herself and that Cole deserved to know the truth, which I agree with. But even he admitted, wow, that was brutal. I'm torn. Vanessa completely crossed the line and betrayed me, and Cole absolutely had a right to know. But the way it blew up at the party was like a nightmare. Part of me feels we did the right thing and that it's all on her and Cole for how it played out. Another part of me feels guilty, like we lit the fuse on a bomb in the middle of our family. Even my mom texted me saying that while Vanessa was wrong, we should have handled it more privately and not let it turn into that public spectacle. I truly didn't know Cole would would go nuclear in front of everyone. Now the family is a wreck. Update 1. It's been about 3 days since the engagement party disaster, and things have only gotten messier. I appreciate all the responses. I didn't get to reply to many comments, but I did read them and it helped steady my nerves. I wish I could say the dust has settled, but no. First off, Vanessa's parents, my aunt and uncle, are livid with us. They've been calling and texting nonstop, demanding that Ryan and I apologize for humiliating their daughter. According to them, we should have come to them and kept this in the family instead of telling Cole. They insist Ryan must have somehow encouraged Vanessa or led her on for her to act like that. Frankly, that accusation makes me extremely angry because I saw the messages. Ryan never gave her any indication. He literally never even replied to her. I told my aunt and uncle point blank, "You raised Vanessa and you know her history. Don't blame my husband for her choices." Probably not the most diplomatic thing, but I was mad. That just led to more yelling from them. They're firmly convinced we overreacted and aired dirty laundry that didn't need to be everyone's business. My own mother is caught in the middle of all this. She agrees that Vanessa was horribly wrong, but she also said to me, maybe that public shaming was too far. I snapped back that we didn't orchestrate the public part. That was Cole's doing. We had no idea he'd do it that way. Mom just sighed and said this whole situation is a tragedy, and she wishes I had tried to talk to Vanessa privately first or something. Honestly, I doubt that would have helped, given Vanessa's track record. Speaking of Vanessa, she actually showed up at my doorstep the day after the party. I didn't open the door because I frankly didn't want to face her yet. She ended up sliding an envelope under my door. It was a handwritten letter, 4 pages long, front and back. Her handwriting was all over the place, like she was really emotional writing it. In the letter, she apologized for the pain she caused me, but then went on to defend herself. She claimed she's been struggling with borderline personality disorder, BPD, and was off her medication when she sent those things to Ryan. According to her, she wasn't in her right mind and felt compelled to act out. She also wrote that she thought Ryan had been flirting with her at family gatherings, giving her signals. For the record, that's complete nonsense. Ryan is friendly to everyone, but I have never seen him flirt with her or anyone else since we've been together. Vanessa begged me in the letter not to mischaracterize what happened when I talked to the family. The whole tone was half apology, half blaming her mental health, and even me in a subtle way. It was a lot to take in. The letter also mentioned that she's considering legal action against Cole for emotional distress and even revenge porn. That part actually made me laugh out loud because she sent those photos willingly to someone else's husband. Cole just forwarded what he was given to show the truth. I'm not a lawyer, but I really don't see how that counts as revenge porn when she distributed the images first. Still, the threat of a lawsuit is hanging out there now. She wrote that she has a meeting with a lawyer to see if she can sue Cole, and implicitly us, I guess, for how this all went down. No idea if she's serious or just lashing out in desperation. On top of that, Ryan has been getting nasty messages from Vanessa's older brother, my cousin. We'll call him Mark. Mark sent a whole rant calling Ryan a homewrecker and accusing him of wanting attention from Vanessa. It's absurd. Ryan showed me the messages. There weren't many before Mark was blocked. We've both decided we're not engaging with any more of Vanessa's immediate family right now. It's like talking to a brick wall of denial. I'm trying to stick to my guns that Vanessa created this mess herself. I'd be lying if I said I'm not second-guessing a little, though. My mom's comment about the public shaming being too cruel got under my skin. We honestly thought Cole would handle it privately. Maybe that was naive in hindsight, given how hurt and angry he must have been. I keep replaying that slideshow scene in my head and cringing. It was never our intention for everyone to see those pictures. We only wanted Cole to know the truth. Ryan, for his part, is angry at the accusations, but still says Cole deserved to know. He told me he does feel bad about how it went down, but he doesn't regret making sure a cheater didn't trap someone in a marriage under false pretenses. I agree with him on that. It's just the collateral damage that's hard to stomach. Our extended family is basically at war now, so that's where we are a few days out. Vanessa is trying to play the mental health card and rewrite the narrative. Her parents are in hardcore denial and want us to atone for it, and the family is split in half over this. I haven't apologized, and don't plan to, for exposing the truth. I do feel a bit bad that so many people saw that side of her, literally and figuratively, but I'm also still furious at what she did in the first place. It's just a mess of emotions. I'll update again if anything major happens. Right now, I'm just racing for the next blow-up because it feels like it's coming. Update 2. Hi again. It's been about 2.5 weeks since the engagement party, and roughly 2 weeks since my last update. I wish I could say things have calmed down, but nope. It's been absolute hell on the family front. Buckle up, because a lot went down. My parents thought it would be a good idea to host a family dinner last week to clear the air. They meant well, but it turned into a disaster. Basically, it was at my parents' house with my parents, Vanessa and her parents, Vanessa's brother Mark, and me and Ryan. From the second we walked in, the tension was insane. Vanessa looked miserable, red puffy eyes, no makeup, very unlike her, and she wouldn't even look at me or Ryan. We all sat down in the living room, and my dad tried to get things started calmly, saying we're all family and we should talk it out. That's as far as he got. Vanessa's mom, my aunt, jumped in and basically blamed me and Ryan for everything. She said we delighted in destroying Vanessa's happiness and that if we hadn't interfered, none of this would have happened. She specifically demanded that Ryan and I cover the $8,000 cost of the engagement party that got wasted, since our meddling caused it to be canceled. I literally coughed in shock when she said that. I told her flat out that we didn't tell Cole to pull that stunt. We just gave him information he had a right to know. Then my uncle started ranting that we should have gone to Vanessa's parents first, so they could handle it as a family and not let outsiders know. He was basically mad that the scandal became public. At this point, Ryan lost his cool a bit. He basically shouted that their daughter sent him nudes and tried to get him to sleep with her, and they're seriously more worried about an engagement party bill. He said, "Are you guys serious right now?" My aunt yelled back that Ryan must have given Vanessa some indication he was interested. Otherwise, she'd never have done something so extreme. Ryan just threw up his hands and told them to believe whatever they want, but made it clear he has absolutely zero interest in Vanessa and that he loves me. Vanessa herself had been quiet up to now, just sniffing and staring at the floor. Suddenly, she exploded. She jumped up and literally begged me to help her. She was sobbing, saying, "Please, please, you have to talk to Cole for me. This is all a big misunderstanding. I'll go to therapy, I'll get help, I'll do anything. Just please help me fix this with him." She was completely breaking down. I told her, as gently as I could, that I wasn't going to get in the middle of that. I said I think that ship has sailed. She kept pleading, saying it was all her fault and she knows it, but she can't live without him and she'll apologize to everyone. Do whatever it takes. Then Vanessa let something slip that honestly left the whole room stunned. Through her sobs, she blurted out, "I've been in love with Ryan since your wedding. I only got engaged to make him jealous so he'd realize what he lost." The room went dead quiet except for Vanessa's crying. My mom and I both just stared at her, mouths open. It was an insanely bold and delusional thing to admit. She basically confirmed that she's been obsessed with my husband for years, and that she even got engaged to Cole as part of some ploy to get Ryan's attention. At this point, my dad stood up and told Vanessa and her parents that they all needed to leave. He was done with this whole farce. My aunt and uncle started arguing with him, but my dad was surprisingly firm. He's usually a very quiet guy. He said, "Enough. We're done here. Your daughter needs help. We're not paying a dime for that party, and we're not responsible for her behavior." Hearing my dad raise his voice and actually take our side was kind of shocking, in a good way. Vanessa, still in tears, then turned to my mom as a last resort. She was crying, "Aunt, Mom's name, please. I don't want to lose my family over this." My mom, who had been quietly crying herself, finally snapped. She told Vanessa, "You did this to yourself. This family is broken because of what you did. I wanted to keep a peace, but you've gone too far this time." My mom was literally shaking as she said that. Then my aunt, Vanessa's mom, started yelling at my mom, like, "How can you say that to my daughter?" My mom fired back that they had coddled Vanessa her whole life and look where it led. It was full chaos at this point, people shouting over each other, Vanessa wailing, etc. In the middle of all this, Mark, Vanessa's brother, suddenly blurted out something like, "Do you guys even realize what she's dealing with now? She took out a $15,000 loan for the wedding. Non-refundable deposits. Are you happy? You financially ruined her too." The room got a bit quieter at that, because that was news to most of us. Vanessa took out a big personal loan to fund a lavish wedding, and now that money is just poof, gone. I felt a twinge of sympathy hearing that, but also, she dug that hole herself. My dad had had enough by then. He basically herded everyone out of the house, saying, "This discussion is over. Take care of your daughter, but leave us out of it." Vanessa was still begging and crying even as her parents ushered her out the door. It was a horrible scene, honestly. In the days since that blow-up, the extended family has exploded on social media and group chats. Some relatives who weren't at the engagement party only heard wild secondhand versions of what happened. So I decided to put out a short factual explanation in one of the big family group chats, the one that includes a lot of our relatives. I basically wrote, "I'm sure everyone has heard about the situation. To clarify, Vanessa was caught sending inappropriate photos and messages to Ryan. Cole found out and has called off the wedding. That's it." I kept it neutral and factual. It definitely stirred the pot though. A lot of family had no idea any of this was going on and were stunned. A few reached out to me privately to offer support or say WTF. Others scolded me for putting family business out there, even though I was just responding to the gossip already flying around. Apparently, Vanessa has been telling some people that Ryan pursued her, that they had some kind of emotional affair, and I only found out and overreacted. The audacity. A mutual friend of ours actually called me, confused and concerned, because she heard from Vanessa that there were feelings on both sides. I quickly set that friend straight and even sent over the receipts. I forwarded her the screenshots of Vanessa's messages to Ryan with a big "do not share further" warning. That friend was shocked and said she'd be cutting contact with Vanessa. I suspect Vanessa's been scrambling to do damage control, but it's not working well for her now that the truth is coming out. So yeah, our family is basically in tatters right now. Some think we did the right thing, others think we're monsters for how it played out. My aunt and uncle, Vanessa's folks, are furious at my parents as well now. Apparently they felt ambushed by my dad and mom finally calling them out. There's talk of doing some kind of family mediation or counseling, but I'm not eager for another round of that. For what it's worth, Vanessa is reportedly in a pretty bad state. I hear, through relatives, that she's mostly staying in her childhood bedroom at her parents' house, crying a lot and not doing much. She says she's willing to go to therapy. She said it at the dinner and apparently told her parents that too. I honestly hope she does, because she clearly needs help for whatever issues have been plaguing her. On our end, Ryan and I are solid. This whole mess has been stressful, but we're supporting each other and presenting a united front. We're both going to sit out any further mediations for now, though. I think we've had enough drama to last a lifetime. I'll update again when there's more to report. At this rate, I suspect there's more shoes yet to drop. Update 3. I didn't expect to be back with more so soon, but here we are about another 2 weeks later, roughly a month since this blew up. And surprise, things escalated even further, especially on Vanessa's end. Not long after my last update, Ryan got pulled into an awkward meeting with his boss. Someone had created an anonymous Instagram account and was messaging employees at Ryan's company, claiming that Ryan had been soliciting nude photos from young women and that there was an ongoing investigation investigation into him. It didn't name Vanessa, but come on, and we knew exactly who'd be behind that. One of Ryan's colleagues actually showed him the DM they got and was like, this seems crazy, but heads up. When Ryan talked to his boss, the boss said HR had received an anonymous tip along the same lines. The good news is that, by the time these messages started circulating, Cole had already contacted Ryan's workplace privately to give them a heads up. Turns out, Cole saw something like this coming. Vanessa had been absolutely blowing up his phone with texts, dozens per day, and leaving voicemails, alternating between apologizing profusely and cussing him out. She even showed up at the gym he goes to, twice, causing a scene when he refused to talk to her. She also reached out to his mother to try to get sympathy. Cole documented everything. He told us he suspected Vanessa might try to retaliate against me or Ryan out of spite, so he preemptively compiled all the evidence, the texts, photos, voicemails, everything, and consulted a lawyer. That lawyer apparently advised him to inform Ryan's workplace, since Vanessa was making threats to ruin Ryan's life in some of her messages to Cole. So by the time these bogus Instagram DMs and anonymous tips popped up, Ryan's HR was already in the loop that this was part of a personal harassment campaign. The fake IG account was shut down pretty quickly. I suspect corporate security reported it. Ryan still had to have a meeting with HR to formally explain the situation, which he said was extremely embarrassing, but they were understanding since he had the context and proof on his side. This whole attempt of hers to mess with his job lit a fire in me. I was done being the quiet, nice relative. I decided to confront Vanessa directly. In hindsight, it was risky, but I was beyond caring. I knew where she worked, a dental office as a receptionist. I showed up during her lunch break unannounced. Probably not my finest idea, but I just felt I had to look her in the eye and tell her to stop this insanity. I brought along a folder of printed screenshots, her messages to Ryan, parts of her letter where she basically half admitted things, and some of the crazy texts she sent to Cole that he had shared with us. I caught her as she was coming out to get lunch behind the office. They have a small staff patio. The moment she saw me, she went pale. I told her we needed to talk. She tried to turn and go back inside, but I said if she didn't talk to me right now, I would walk in and have this out in front of her coworkers and any patients in the lobby. I got her attention. She stayed, and we stepped to the side where a couple of the dental assistants take smoke breaks. I was more angry than I've ever been, but I somehow stayed very calm and cold. I told her she needed to stop this. Stop lying about Ryan. Stop harassing people. Just stop. I showed her the printed screenshots of that fake Instagram crap and said I knew it was her and it was pathetic. I said she needed serious help and this had gone way beyond a jealous tantrum. Vanessa didn't take that well. She started getting defensive, swearing up and down that she had no idea what I was talking about with the work stuff. I just shook my head and began laying out everything. I mentioned how Cole had 50+ obsessive texts from her and how we all knew about her threats. I didn't even get halfway through my prepared speech before she burst into tears and lost it on me at her workplace in the middle of the day. She started screaming that I stole her soulmate and that she's loved Ryan for 5 years. 5 years. That predates my marriage. It even predates when Ryan and I got serious. Essentially, she's been infatuated with him since around when I first brought him around family. She was shrieking, "He should have been with me, not you. You never deserved him." And even said I wouldn't even be a good mother to his kids. That one was out of left field. She was yelling that she and Ryan were meant to be together in another life and all kinds of unhinged things. It was unhinged. By then, some of her coworkers had poked their heads out because she was so loud. The dentist, her boss, came out front, alarmed, asking what was happening. I just stepped away and said, "I'm leaving now." Honestly, I'd said what I needed to say and there was no point arguing with her meltdown. Vanessa was still screaming at me as I walked off, yelling things like I ruined her life, among other not so nice words. I got in my car and just sat there shaking for a few minutes from the adrenaline. I do feel a bit bad for causing a scene at her workplace. Then again, I'm also somewhat satisfied that her true colors came out in front of her coworkers. Consequences. Meet actions. A mutual friend later told me that Vanessa was sent home early that day and, as of last week, she lost her job. I don't know if it was directly because of the scene or due to all the personal drama affecting her work, but she's no longer employed there. After that confrontation, things moved quickly on the legal front. Cole, true to his word, filed for a restraining order against Vanessa. He asked me and Ryan to provide statements and any evidence we had of her harassment. We agreed in a heartbeat. We handed over everything. The initial texts and photos she sent, her long letter, the fake Instagram stuff, all of it. Cole was grateful. He seems determined to put a firm legal boundary between himself and Vanessa. We actually met briefly at his lawyer's office to sign some documents, and he dropped another bombshell during that meeting. Right before the engagement party, Vanessa told him she was pregnant. I nearly spit out my coffee when he said that, because of course she wasn't. She had shown him a positive pregnancy test and everything, but he had his doubts even then. After the blow-up, he found in her browser, history, on a shared tablet, an order for fake positive pregnancy tests from Amazon. Yes, those are a thing. So she was going to trap him with a fake pregnancy if her other schemes didn't work. Cole said he's keeping that little nugget in his back pocket in case she tries to publicly paint him as abandoning his child or something. Honestly, nothing about her would surprise me at this point. The restraining order hearing hasn't happened yet. It's set for next week, but the court did grant an immediate temporary restraining order. That means Vanessa has to legally stay away from Cole and stop contacting him. I doubt she'll risk violating it for her own sake, but we'll see. In a last bit of family drama, my parents, aunt and uncle, Vanessa, and I attempted a family intervention a few days ago with a therapist friend mediating. I was extremely reluctant, but my mom begged for it. It did not go well. During During this meeting, my mom ended up being the one to blow up on Vanessa. She confronted my aunt and uncle and said they've enabled Vanessa's behavior all her life. The big shocker. My mom revealed that this wasn't the first time Vanessa tried something like this. Apparently back when I was in high school, I had a serious boyfriend at 17. Vanessa pulled a similar stunt. My boyfriend's mother showed my mom some flirty and inappropriate messages and a revealing photo that Vanessa had sent my boyfriend behind my back. At the time, I had no clue. The boy and I broke up for unrelated reasons. We were teens. But my mom did know after the fact, and she chose not to tell me then to keep the peace in the family. She looked at Vanessa and said, "You have been pulling these stunts since you were 16, and the family always looked the other way." No more. I was speechless. I looked at Vanessa, and she just stared at the floor with tears in her eyes. My aunt tried to protest, chalking it up to teenage hormones or something, but my mom shut her down hard. She basically told her, "No, we all made excuses for her, and look where it got us." Vanessa just quietly said, "I'm sorry," in this very small voice, but it wasn't even clear who she was apologizing to. The meeting kind of fizzled out after that. The therapist friend, who was mediating, gently suggested that what Vanessa needs is serious individual therapy and that family sessions won't help until she works on herself. My aunt and uncle looked pretty shell-shocked. I think seeing the pattern laid out like that and hearing my mom, who is usually the peacemaker, say enough was a wake-up call for them. I walked out of that intervention feeling drained, but also a bit vindicated. The pattern was finally acknowledged out loud. My mom even apologized to me afterward for not addressing Vanessa's behavior years ago. She said, "We wanted to believe it was just jealousy that she'd outgrow. I'm so sorry. It's sad that it took all this for them to see it. Anyway, we'll see what happens at the restraining order hearing next week. I'll likely post a final update after that, hopefully with some closure." Update 4. Final. It's been about 3 months since the engagement party fiasco, and a few weeks since my last update. I'm back with what should be the final update to this saga. A lot has happened, mostly tying up loose ends. Firstly, the restraining order. Cole went through with it, and we had the court hearing. Ryan and I attended as witnesses and provided our testimony and evidence. It was a pretty straightforward case given the mountain of documentation. Vanessa didn't even bother contesting it. She looked very tired and resigned in court. The judge granted Cole a long-term restraining order for 1 year, with the option to extend. During the hearing, all the harassment stuff came out. The texts, the fake pregnancy scheme, everything. Vanessa's parents were in attendance and finally saw the full scope of what she'd been doing. I saw my aunt literally put her face in her hands when the fake pregnancy was mentioned. My uncle was red as a tomato and wouldn't look at anyone. After court, my uncle actually approached me and Ryan privately. He was in tears, which is something I've never seen from that man. He apologized for how they treated us and said, "We were wrong. We've been making excuses for her for so long. I'm so sorry for what she put you through." It was emotional and awkward, but I appreciated it. My aunt stood a few paces back, looking mortified and sad. She nodded along, but didn't really speak. I think they are truly shocked by how bad things got. As part of the restraining order outcome, the court is requiring Vanessa to attend therapy and show proof of it. I think the BPD mention might not have been just an excuse. She probably does have some mental health issues to work through, clearly. If nothing else, she needs help for her jealousy and impulse control. In the weeks since, Vanessa has been quiet, like eerily quiet. No more stunts, thank God. She deleted or suspended all her social media. From what I hear, she is indeed going to therapy now and is on some kind of medication. Not sure what. She's currently unemployed. She ended up losing that dental job after the meltdown incident. There's talk that she might go stay with an aunt on her dad's side in another state for a while, basically to remove herself from all the local drama and get a fresh start while she undergoes therapy. Honestly, that might be best for her. Family-wise, things are still tense, but there's been a bit of healing now that the main drama is over. My parents have made it clear that Vanessa will not be welcome at any family functions until she's gotten help and made genuine amends. That sounds harsh, but I think it's necessary. For what it's worth, Vanessa's own parents agree with this boundary. My mom even told me privately that she was so sorry she pressured us to keep quiet initially. She thought she was protecting the family, but she realizes now that it just enabled Vanessa. That meant a lot to hear from her. There's effectively a split in the family communications now. We have one group chat that excludes Vanessa, which most of the family uses to coordinate things now, and there's presumably a separate chat or communication that includes her. I'm not in that one. It's awkward, but honestly, it's nice not having her pop up in the main chat. I doubt we'll have full family gatherings for a while. Probably we'll do separate holidays, etc. That's sad in a way, but it beats the drama. On the bright side, Ryan's work officially cleared him of any wrongdoing. They actually apologized to him for the stress and said they consider the matter closed. His reputation there is fine. He admitted to me that this was one of his biggest worries, that his career would be harmed by this craziness. So getting that all cleared up lifted a huge weight off his shoulders. As for Cole, we've stayed in touch a bit. In a weird twist, he and Ryan have become kind of friends. They bonded, I guess, over the sheer absurdity of what happened. They even went to a basketball game together last week. I encouraged it. They both needed a guy's night out after all this. Cole is doing all right. He's understandably still upset and working through the betrayal, but he's relieved to have the restraining order and is focusing on his own life now. He joked that between him and us, we make a pretty good team at solving mysteries, trying to lighten the mood. I do feel sorry that things went down the way they did. Vanessa is my cousin, someone I grew up with, and it's tragic that her life imploded like this. A part of me will probably always care about her and hope she gets better, but I won't be reaching out or anything anytime soon. I think it's best we all have some space. Maybe, years down the line, if she really turns her life around, we can be on cordial terms. We'll see. For now, Ryan and I are focused focusing on ourselves and trying to move forward. This whole ordeal was a nightmare, but oddly it brought us even closer, like going through hell together and coming out the other side kind of thing. We're planning a weekend getaway soon just to celebrate surviving this drama with our sanity intact. In the end, I'm just glad the truth came out, even if the delivery was explosive. If we had stayed silent, Vanessa would have married Cole under false pretenses and likely continued her obsession with Ryan, and that would have been an even bigger ticking time bomb for the family. At least now everything is in the open, for better or worse. This will be my final update. I'm ready to close the book on this chapter of our lives. Thanks to everyone who followed along and offered perspective. It helped more than you know. TLDR, my cousin faced the fallout of sending nudes to my husband. She lost her fiancé and her job, and Cole got a restraining order against her. Her parents finally saw the full truth and apologized for enabling her. She's now in therapy and staying out of state with relatives. The family is divided but slowly healing. My husband and I are moving on with our lives, stronger than ever but with firm boundaries regarding Vanessa. What a wild ride. I'm just glad it's over.